on. We're ready to go. All right. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do solving by square root. So basically, it's our lesson yesterday, but just a little bit more. Okay? So we're going to start out something very nice and simple. X squared equals 9. Okay? X squared equals 9. Very simple, very easy. Is x by itself? That's right. Is x by itself? What do we still have with it? The squared. How do we get rid of a squared? And minus x, because what? X squared minus x. X squared minus x, right? That doesn't help us. Nice and simple. I take the square root. Exactly. Okay, does that make sense to you, Zach, as well? Everybody understand that? Okay, and hence why we did yesterday's lesson or last time's lesson, correct? Okay, we take the square root. Okay, so x squared, notice, what does square root mean? You're looking for something that times is by itself to get you there. Well, isn't x squared x times x? It was times by itself, so what's the square root of x squared? X, right? What's the square root of 9? 3. Now, because I took a square root, I was the one that made the square root happen, correct? That is when you do the plus or minus. Because, think about it, is the only value that makes this equation work 3? Is 3 squared 9? Yeah. Is that the only number, though? What else we got? Negative 3, because negative 3 squared also becomes 9. There's 2 solutions, right? Okay, there's 2 solutions. So, hence we need to do our plus or minus. Okay? That's where the plus or minus comes in. Notice, did you personally put the square root down? No. See, like beforehand, was there any square root? So when I perform the square root, that's when you do the plus or minus. But on these guys, it was already there in the problem itself, right? It just basically said simplify it. That is when you just take the square root. So the square root of 49 is 7. Because it was negative 7i. There's no plus or minus involved in there because it was just performing the square root, right? Does that make sense, the difference in between the two? Valerie, you put that away for me? Okay, so now let's get a little bit harder. Okay, well, let's say I had x squared minus 7 equals 1. Haley, I'm going to come to you if that's all right. Because you got those killer pants on today. Okay, so Haley, is my x squared by itself? It is? Who's over with it? Okay, so I want the x squared like itself, like what I have here. See how he was all by his own. Okay, that's our first goal, is to get him all by himself, okay? So what do I do now? How do I get rid of that minus 7? That's really simple, right? So now I'm at x squared equals 8. Okay, so Kira, what do I do now? Is the x by itself? Is he? Is he like this guy? He has all by his own stuff? He's not. He's got the squared, right? How do you get rid of that squared? What did I do on that? You can do it. Read yourself. You guys are so nervous to even say anything. You guys can say stuff. It's wrong. It's wrong. We'll talk about it. It's okay. But, you know, x squared here. I needed to get him by himself, so how did I get him from x squared to x? What did I perform? Took the square root. Does that make sense, Sarah? You okay with that still? All right. Okay. So, square root of both sides. Now, Stefan, explain me what square root of 8 is. 4 and 2. Good. What else? Is there buddies yet? So I got to keep going, don't I? 2 and 2. Do I have buddies now? Okay, who gets to come out? The 2 gets to come out, right? Who gets to stay under? The 2, right? So square root of 8 is the same thing as 2 root 2, right? What am I missing up here, guys? Is this my answer? X equals 2 root 2? time you perform a square root, you need to do the plus or minus. Okay? Yes, no, maybe so? You okay with that? All right. Onward, ever onward. Let's see what else we got. Oh, we got those kind. All right, we're good. So, let's say we had negative 5 x squared equals 625. Marisol, I'm going to have you help me with that, okay? Well, it's okay. You're going to help me. Marisol, is x squared by itself? Nope. What's with it? So, okay, what does that say, though? Does that say negative 5 plus, negative 5 minus, negative 5 times? What does it say? Would I say negative 5 plus x squared? Would I say negative 5 times x squared? Would I say negative 5 divide x squared? What does that say? It says times. So how do we get rid of that time? Divide it. So go ahead and everybody divide negative 5 to the other side for me. Did everybody get that? Do I got a second on that? Anybody questions? John Jacob? All right. Chris Webb, what am I going to do? So we got to first do what before we find the factor? Because x is not by itself yet, right? So how do I get rid of that x squared? Perform the square root, right? Does that make sense, guys? Everybody see what we're doing there? You guys are kind of hesitant on that step, so that's making sure that you're good to go. Why are we taking the square root? Because that's how we get rid of this power. Okay? Let me show you also a reason. Okay? Using this skill over here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Using this skill from transferring from a radical to an exponent, can somebody help me out? What does this mean when I take this now? It's x raised to what power? It will be the first in just a second, though, right? Tell me name again. Okay. What's the power here? 2. We're dividing it by the power of the root, which is what? He's a 2 right there, isn't he? It's a square root. So what's 2 divided by 2? 1. And that's why it's coming out to be 1, is because we're performing that square root, which is square root gets rid of a square. What do you guys think gets rid of x to the 4th? A 4th root, right? Does that make sense? X to the 100th. Exactly. That's where they come from. Everybody there with me? Okay? All right, April, you ready? You got to square root of negative 125. What's in at least 125, April? Why do we know 5? Can you explain to me? That is true. Why? Exactly. It ends in a 5, right? Good. So, can you tell me 5 times what gets you there? 25? As I heard MJ mouth. I didn't hear. I saw him. What's in 25? 5 and 5. Are there buddies? Who gets to come out? The 5 does, so I'm going to bring him up here. X equals 5. Anybody else get to come out? I gets to come out, right? Why does I get to come out? Because it was a negative 125, correct? Good job, Patrick. Does everybody see why the I gets to come out as well? Colton, you good? I'm saying probably 4 are good. 5i, and then who's still left underneath, Abby? The other 5. Right? We have this pair. That's why he's here. And this guy has to stay. Right? The 5 has to stay. You guys see a lot of similarities as we were doing yesterday? Okay, this pink shirt. You gotta help me with your name. Emily. Okay, you're up on the next one. You ready for this? we perform the square root, you have to do the plus or minus, right? Good catch, good catch. Sometimes I even forget. Ooh, that's my $35 pen going somewhere. Did you know they're $35, Chad? I looked it up online because I thought I lost both of them. Oh, I found a deal then. Okay, Emily, you ready? So now, what have we done already? We've done things where it was negative 5x squared, and then we just divided the 5 over. And we did one that was x squared minus 7, we just add the 7 over, right? So what do you guys think we're going to do now? We're going to do a little combination of both, right? Does that make sense, everyone? So let's assume, let's say here, we got 3x squared. We're going to make this pretty high. Equals something like this. What's up going on here now that I'm running this? We're going to add the 1. Alright, there we go. Ready, Em? What are we going to do? Oops, sorry, I want to make this, sorry, hold on, apologize. My fault, don't do that. I have to change that. Sometimes when I make problems in my head, it gets all crazy side. Okay, what's my first step I'm going to do, Emily? I need to add the 1. Why do I add the 1 before the 5? Does anybody know? 5's in front of the x, but notice the other reason is if I divide by 3, guess what number I also have to divide by 3? Now you guys want to play with fractions when you don't have to. That's the reason why we leave it to the end. Does that make sense, everyone? Perfect. Good. Alright. Done yet? Gazing on me? Alright. So you said to add 1. 3x squared equals 522. Okay. What are we going to do? Alright. I want to know, without you guys using a machine, when I go ahead and do what, Emily? What's my next step? Is x squared by itself? What do I need to do? Not yet. Sure you do. I believe in you. Think a little bit. Look back at your last note if you need to. The one that has a number out front. Did we just take a square root when it was negative 5x squared equals 625? No. We have to do what? We have to divide the 3 over, don't we? Okay, I want you guys to tell me, without using that lovely machine of yours, is this going to go in nicely, or are we going to come out with a fraction? Okay, I heard somebody say, who said fraction? Okay, why do you think it's going to be a fraction? How do you know it's not going to be a fraction? How can you check if it's going to be a fraction? Okay, add them together. What do we get? 5 plus 2. Plus 2 again. 9 divisible by 3. So therefore we are divisible by 3. Does that make sense to you though? Okay, so hopefully today you don't get into fractions yet, because those take a little bit more time. Okay, I'll look at our homework today just to make sure, but we're going to see where we're at. Okay, so we're going to divide the 3 over, aren't we? What do we get out of that? Somebody help me out. I guess I can do it. Come here and show you. How many guys were ever taught? I know some people in this district weren't taught long division. It kind of baffled me. Okay? So, just for those that didn't, I'm going to show you long division really quick, okay? Because yes, we have a machine. Is it quicker? Sure it is. But sometimes our brain is more powerful, right? Some colleges, such as UVU, doesn't allow you to use a calculator whatsoever. It's easy. But they don't allow calculators, so you got to understand this stuff, right? Okay, it's maybe not the secondary math 2 stuff that's getting you, it's basic arithmetic, right? So you got to learn how to do it just in case. So, how many times can 3 go into 5? 1. So we put a 1 here. We go 1 times 3 is 3. 11. Minus 2. So I subtracted and I brought down the 2, correct? How many times can 3 go into 22? 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract and I get 1 and then bring down the 2. 3 can go into 12 how many times? 4 times. 12, so this is 174. Okay? We all can do it, I promise you. You just got to give your brain a shot to do it. Okay? Sometimes I think you guys are just want to go the easy route, which I'm not saying it's not necessary, but sometimes let your brain do some work. Work it out. Okay, Emily, this is your last one. This is your last thing you got to do. Now what do we get to take? Now we do, because notice, see how x squared by himself? That's when we get to take the square root. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so we take the square root. Okay. Oops, too low. Too low. Okay, what goes into 174, Jacob? Because you're caring more about your desk than us here. I'm going to have you work with it. What goes into it? Half. I know it's 12 too. Okay. That's just because it's 12. So that's 12, so you know at least that 3 can go. Okay? Doesn't necessarily 4 mean 3 can go either. 3 for sure. 3 and what? Out of 12. Oh, okay. So 58. 174 divided by 3 is 58. Yep, that is. Okay? So 58 for sure. What do you know for sure goes in? Goes in the last number. Last number. Look at the last number. Don't necessarily a 4 goes into it. 4 doesn't go into it just because he's divisible by 4. You've got to always just know a 2 will go into it. Yeah, 2. 29 is what we call a lovely what? That's a prime number. It can't be done. Here's anybody. Well, we have to check. We can't just leave him be, right? We have to say, is 174 have anything in it? We got to check him out. If he doesn't, so what's our answer? X, so that comes up to be X, equal square root of 174. What are we missing? That was horrible for some reason. Plus or minus, right? Okay. Okay, we're going to do 2 more and then we're going to be good. Okay, so oh, no, I don't want that. No, don't want that. Sometimes when I make it up, I have to think of that. Jade, I haven't heard your lovely voice today. I want to on you. Help me out, Jade. Help me out. Good. Bobby's subtracting the 3. Well, if I do it to one side, I got to do the other, right? Divide by -2. Yep, Jake. So you might want to get the sticker part ready. Are you guys okay not having me show the division? You guys understand that? You want me to show every step? I'm just curious. It depends on your math maturity, to be honest, right, Trevor? What are you doing, buddy? Absolutely. Nice and lovely. What did you get? Good luck. Yeah, 24. Okay. What was I just talking about? You guys see how I didn't technically show? This is what I need to know from you guys. Because it depends on how you guys are at your level. That's some steps that I need to show you to understand that you guys get from here to here. If you want me to, I can. If you don't, I'm okay either. But sooner or later, you guys get that understanding where I don't need to show those steps, right? Good. All right. Come back to you. You kind of struggled last time to come back to you. I want to have you look me up. How do I get rid of that square? Take the square root, right? Good. Good job, Zach. So what's the square root of x squared, Zach? Good. Awesome. Awesome, Zach. Okay. Anytime I take a square root, what do I need to put up front of this number? lovely negative right here, what gets to come out? An I, perfect, great. We need to break down 62 though, don't we? Okay. So Zach, what do we know for sure goes into 62? Why does a 2 go into it, Zach? This number is a even number, right? Because he's even, we know for sure 2 is going to get into it. 2 times 31. And 31 is what we call a what number? Prime, so we didn't go anywhere. So therefore, 30. Plus or minus I. Marisol, have I picked on you today? You sure?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Dunyan, give me a number. Okay. You just made that one hard. All right, give me another one, Kyler. You're no fun. All right, let me think of something. Let me borrow your calculator. Who's got one? You got a good one. This is all over the phone. Ah, okay, I don't have. Love you anyway. Just blame it on Dunyan.
Way to go, Spencer.
This is your baby, though. You're going to help me.
I didn't say a thing.
Okay. Here we go, Spencer. What do we do first? Awesome. That was black, didn't it? Okay. So now what do we got left, Spencer? X squared. Now what do we do, Spencer? So, what is it? 12. I'm not done yet, Spencer. Gotta take the square root, as Spencer likes to say. What does this become? Equals. You know what the square root of 12 is? Is that one of our perfects? I'm just at you today, Corbin. Luckily, this is my last. Oh, no, I'm picking on you. You've done well. Onward to Corbin. No! Colton! I called you Corbin again. I don't know why. You look like a Corbin. Okay, Colton, what's in 12? 6 and 2. What's in 6? 3 and 2. Alright. So 6 and 2, and then you said 3 and 2, right? What's the buddy? And what gets the under? Patrick! Shut it, thy pie hole! I love you though, buddy. Colton, who's got buddy? Who stays under? What are we missing, ladies and gentlemen? Plus or minus. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we're doing today by solving by square root. Nothing hard, right? We involve, yes, Jacob, John. Jacob, every time today, because we're doing plus or minus. Because on these, we are solving. And because we're solving, we need the plus or minus.